Gang banging only has two roads, either death or prison.
My son started looking at me like, Mom, what's going on? So I had to find a way out.
Once you're in that gang, it's tough to get out. There's an expression among some of the criminal street gangs, blood in, blood out. What does that mean? That you gotta be jumped in, and the only way you're out is if you're dead.
I forced my family to have to move to the Inland Empire. It's because of me that we lost. And so I tried to make a change after that.
I think you start knowing that it's all bullshit, but you feel stuck.
You want all these coup points, but where do you cash them in? You don't. There's nowhere to cash those coup points in. You know what I mean? You could have all the coup points. All it does make you really is it makes your enemies want to kill you more and your homeboys jealous. That's all it does.
Man, I got to change, man. I can't get out. I can't stay out here in these streets.
And I'll tell you straight up that if you commit a crime and I catch you or I find out you committed, especially a violent act here, I'm going to hunt you down, I'm going to capture you, I'm going to arrest you, I'm going to go to the judge, and I'm going to try for the hardest sentencing I can get on you.
In the city of LA where the homies be dying. A lot of misery, crime, suffering and pain. My exit strategy is to get out the game.
I got shot, I got stabbed, a lot of funerals, got my head busted open, got arrested a lot for times where I thought I was through, you know? I think you start knowing that it's all bullshit, but you feel stuck. I was like, man, I gotta do something bigger. You know, I gotta do something. But what do I want to do? I thought of going in the Marines. I thought of computers and I thought of everything. I was like, nah, I don't want to do none of that stuff. And I had to really sit back and really think of what is it that I want to do the rest of my life where I'm going to be happy, you know? And I went back to my childhood dream, which was movies. Everything that I learned from Toys R Us and the streets, hustling, you know, selling stolen car parts or whatever, just trying to just suck it all up. And I felt like it's the neighborhood all over again. You know, you're gonna come in, you're gonna get respect, you're gonna get a reputation, you gotta keep your word, you know, you're gonna show up at 5 in the morning somewhere, you gotta be there, you know? So I started just learning, and I felt like I needed to spread the word back to the hood. I feel like I just need to tell people, check this out, man. This Hollywood thing, you don't get a background check, you eat for free. You know, for me playing a gang member most of the time, I was like, it was really like, what? Playing a gang member? You're gonna pay me to play a gang member? Where do I sign up, right? So that's what I was doing. And attracting other guys and telling everybody, and I started meeting other dudes that come from a similar background that were also in there. It got to the point where like we're helping everybody out and everything was good. That's when like now we got to start a business, a legit business. So we formed, thought of a name, of course, Suspect Entertainment goes perfect with it. And got all these ex-gangbangers and started managing them, you know what I mean? Started giving them guidance and teaching them about the business side of things and audition techniques and all this stuff. And I had to start stepping up my game as well, you know, learning the corporate stuff, taxes and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, what happened was my mom told me, you know, can you go put some gas in my car? So we had moved to, you know, another area out of East LA. My mom tried to get us out, so we moved out. So I was in her car. I was wearing a jacket with no shirt under, you know, me being stupid little, you know, trying to be a gangbanger. So I'm putting gas, and then these guys roll up, boom, in a little car, you know, right, cut me off. Where you from, Holmes? You know, like, you know, I'm talking about from. So he gets off and just hits me. So I'm fighting with them, and then another guy gets off. So I'm fighting with these 2 guys. Then another guy gets off. So I'm fighting with these 3 guys. Another guy comes on, like, man, there's no way I know. I was getting tired at that point, basically. So I ran a little bit, you know, got my footing, and I pulled out a gun, you know. I'm putting gas in my mom's car, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep an eye on all of them where they're at. This man's taking my license plate number down. I'm just like, man, you know what? There's no way I can shoot these guys and get away with it. So I can fast forward to another, you know, 5 years. So I'm on the set of the Fast and the Furious, and all these gangsters are in the trailer, and I'm just thinking, man, here we go again. So I go in there, and Manny, you know, a couple of guys come up to me, hey, homie, what's up, dog? You know, my name's what you and you know, what's your name? Oh, my name's Frank. You know, where you stay at? And I'm just like, shit, here we go. You know what I mean? Once they hear where I'm from, it's gonna be on. And there's like 20 guys in there now, and I can't escape. I mean, the door's locked. I told them I'm from here. I was ready to get jumped. Anyways, man, he goes, oh, you know, hey, don't take this the wrong way. Just a little story that happened in the back, and one of your homeboys were jumping him and he pulled out a gun from his shoe. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I told him, yeah, that was me, Holmes. And he's like, oh, hey, well, yeah, that's cool, don't worry about it. So we end up shaking hands, and then, but it just goes to show, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. If I would've shot him, I would've been in prison, he would've been dead, and I wouldn't have a job, you know what I mean? He's my boss now, so I would've killed, I would've killed my chances to succeed.
I fought all the guys, I spray painted on all the walls, sicked my pet bulls on all the enemies. I did as much as I could because I was hurting so much. When I got out of youth authority, I got tired of doing bad, and I got tired of hurting myself. You know, everything I did affected me. It didn't affect nobody else in the world but me. So I just got tired of that, and I just said, you know what? Let me help myself. Let me try to do something that can really benefit me and my family. And I basically just wanted to do my passion and what I felt. So now that I'm doing positive work, did the Jesus Walk video with Kanye, and that's about a gang member going to God and leaving the homies no matter what they thought of me, and pursue something positive, man. This is the American dream, you know what I mean? There's nothing else.
Oh yeah, what's good? It's V, the villain, and that's how it is. Exit strategies to snap your neck back, and Nina and Max is putting these ex-gangsters on the map and letting the youth know you ain't gotta do that. It's a cold game, a cold thing. Even the roughest and toughest of OGs end up dead in gunslang. So I'ma do my thing and you do your thing.
Pasadena was a very controversial city. Like, you either had to be a part of something or you would be destroyed, kind of, like, you know, or you just weren't in style. The only thing you see is do-rags, perms, and jerry curls, you know what I'm saying? And big Cadillacs. We would be caught for, like, stealing cars, and, you know, we'd be caught for robbing people's houses. And so I kind of forced my family to have to move to the Inland Empire. It was kind of hard because I felt like I moved the family. You know what I mean? And it was because of me that we lost. And so I tried to make a change after that. Well, as I got older, you know, you kind of get played out in it. So it's like, I lost my cousin to it also. When it gets close to home, you feel it kind of different. You're not looking at the aspect of, oh, I killed the enemy, or I served the enemy tonight. You're like, I lost a family member to this. Game plan was rapping. It was crazy. I actually wanted to be a marketer. My brother Juan G was rapping at the time, and they were doing their thing, and so I was like, you know, I could do marketing, I could, you know, sell CDs, you know, we sell clothes, we sell stolen items, sell a CD to somebody, you know what I mean? So, you know, I did the marketing thing, and then we just now I'm to the point where I got my own solo album out.
Making my name, pimping the game, so cold the bills like I'm going insane. Can throw what a business, my friend.
It's been a struggle, but we had a game plan, and I stuck to it. That listen, even though it's hard, if you have faith in God and self and determination, you can do anything you want to do. And I'm a living testimony for that.
It started all back in Detroit, you know, growing up poor, you know, so I used to steal out my mama's purse, you know, take things and stuff like that. And then Mom moved to LA. My cousin started letting me hold his stuff, his drugs, and so I was holding it. And then some cats came to the gate and it was like, is Victor here? You know, it was like, you got something? And I noticed I had it, so I saw what they did. And my cousins told me about it, and I said, okay, I got one, and I sold one. What came along with the drugs, it's the police. It comes a time in life, no matter who you are, you run into a wall, you run into depression, you run into a state of like, man, I got to change, man. I can't get out, I can't stay out here in these streets. Jail was the place for me. So when I got out, I wanted to change. I got a Medicare job. The girl was like, be a clown at my party. I was like, a clown, you gonna pay me? And she was like, I'll pay you. And these girls at my church, they was doing the clown thing. So I asked her, I said, hey, this girl want me to do a party, what do I do, you know? I was ready to go. And I said, Gretchen, I'm finna come. You got my money? She said, I don't got no money. I said, girl, you don't got no money. I was already dressed up. She didn't pay me nothing. I stayed there for 3 hours. And when I checked with them kids, with the kids, I said, you know what? I'm finna come up with Tommy the hip hop dancing clown. Hey. Used to just go through all the neighborhoods, jump out, blast the loud music, because that's how, back in the days when I was in the drugs, we used to drive the cars, fancy cars with loud music, and used to high sign, you know, you want to flash, want the girls to see you and stuff like that. But I flipped it and said, okay, well, let me use some old traits, which is, you still like the nice car with music. But I said, okay, as the clown, I'm dressed up as a clown, now I'm getting more attention. I got the kids, and I'm doing something positive. I made up in my mind that I didn't want to attach myself with the past, which is the old homeboys, because I know that if I do that, it can draw me, it have a chance of drawing me back into that type of lifestyle. It comes a time when you have to make up in your mind, in your heart, in your soul that you don't want to do that, and that's what I did.
I never completed high school. Single family mom. There was no dad around, so I was kind of like the tomboy. You know, I always wanted to hang out. Never wanted to come home from school, never. So that's basically how it was up until teenage pregnancy. Then I got into the gangs. After that, I got involved with hanging out, you know, with the Crips, doing bad things, robbing, you know, beating up people, beating up old people. So after a while, you know, my son started looking at me like, Mom, what's going on? Because, you know, I had him just before I turned 16. So I couldn't bring him up where, no, it was not gonna happen. I didn't want him to go through what I went through. So I had to find a way out. There was a major incident. You know, I ended up getting raped. Considering that I had no family support, I was banded from mom, aunties, cousins. I had to turn to shelter. I had no skills, barely knew how to read and write. Learning how to dress and to fill out an application, all of that was taught to me through the Jan Clayton Center. And they gave me an exit plan, and you know, you get job opportunities while you're in, and it was just a program that helped me and to get back affiliated with my family and to find out who I am and to be the mother that I was supposed to be to my son before he gets lost in the gangbanging. And then I began to work in the cable business. It was kind of difficult for me because I was a street woman. I didn't know the corporate, you know, get up, go to work 9 to 5. So it was a blessing that God put an ideal in my mind since I had learned how to clean in the program, because that's what we had to do every morning, get up and clean up the establishment. I started my own business, cleaning house. And I started accumulating customers, and I would work 3 days cleaning house, and then eventually I started making more money cleaning house than I would on the paycheck. God put another ideal in my mind to put a commercial on the cable channel, considering I was working for the cable company. And I continued to work for like 3 months. And I would answer my cell phone on break, you know, book the appointments. And then after that, I just quit and walked out on faith. And today, we still have a commercial. I have a staff of 7 people. I have a curb property, and I have my business. I run out of one of my units. And we just doing it.
For me and my brothers, we didn't have to join our neighborhoods. We was born and raised in Compton, so that's where we from, and we just represented parks. The area in which I grew up on, Rosecrans and Bullis, we had Lewis Park. As far as constantly wearing colors and different things like that, I would say I probably was in about the 8th grade. I always wanted to assist my brothers. Not because, you know, they filled themselves with Bloods or they wore a color, because they could have been Crips. And it just so happened that, you know, that they was from the mob. So my sisters went to the mob. My mom and dad, they've been together since the 7th grade, so we always had that structure. Our parents are homeowners, so it wasn't like a broken home, wasn't drugs being used in the home. So I always had an educational background, and I played football and basketball. You know, just the incident came up, you know, where I was accused of being in the incident, and I didn't really have anything to do with it. I was 18 years old, I had just graduated from high school, I was on my way to college. than I did from 18 to 28. Being away from your family, being a man that's coming up in your house, I felt that I was doing an injustice to my mom because they were getting old. I was supposed to be out there with my mom, helping the old lady at the grocery store, reading with the kids. So that obligation of being a part of the community, being a part of my family, that took my mentality to a whole nother level. Then really having the opportunity, being locked up, to really talk to Crips, to talk to other Bloods, to talk to other brothers from up north, to have the opportunity to really socially start sitting down and dialoguing with them. Well, these brothers are doing the same thing I want to do. They want to own a business. They want to do that. He played football. So now we're finding commonalities. Once we find commonalities, then it's easy not to hate each other. Some of our strongest people in our community are the gang members. We talk about individually strong, mentally strong. And we need to redirect that energy. We need to redirect those individuals in a sense, whereas we can start applying whatever God-given talents and influence that we have to something that's more positive. You have to do some self-inventory and say, what I really want to do, and start setting up short-term goals and start accomplishing some of those goals for yourself first. I'm a business owner. I just incorporated my business. I own a commercial building maintenance company, and that's something that for me, it just gives me self-esteem. I started gang banging early. I started, I think, around 12 years old. I was a little fat kid on the block. I didn't have no kind of sense of inclusion until I met other fat kids that were a little bit older than me, but they were involved in gangs. But when I was going to school, kids was cruel. They had a way of making me feel like, man, only way I can react out is in violence. I can't sit back. I'm not finna play the yo mama bagging game. I'm not. I'm gonna staple your eyeball with the stapler and get kicked out of school. I didn't know how to do nothing but react. But I was in the life young. So in that, I really just went with the norm as far as gang violence. I flowed through it. I got older. I started going to jail at about 16. I stopped around, I say, 28, 29. But that was the time I went to the penitentiary and got committed. So I had to really sit this time. Wasn't no just me going in and out. First, let me show you this. I had made a few enemies in jail, right? And in the process of me making a few enemies in jail, I got out. I had met this girl. She stayed in the Rival Gangs neighborhood. And I went over there. I had all our colors on. We pull up over there, and it was a day over there that they were out, full-fledged, And me and one dude locked eyes. Words were spreaded. He shot. Everything else was history. I really, really told myself, I asked myself, what now? I reached the highest level of gang violence. I'm about to die for the neighborhood. And when I got there, it wasn't nothing there. They were doing things with Jim Brown. He had a program that was for ex-cons. I said, you know what? I need to bring this to our community. We don't have no kind of resources like this over here with that. And that's what gave birth to UME3. I got it with the cats over here that had the mindset that I had. It's just ironic that I got Shantez Williams, a childhood friend that was on the negative. He's still right here with me on the positive. We deal with issues from a homie that might be in jail with 25 to life, who was the only child, whose mom lived by herself, and she's 47 years old and about to lose the house, to the little kids that we got to find out how we're going to get these vans to take them to a place. It's so many different issues that we deal with.
Okay, I was born and raised in the Jefferson Park community from the neighborhood of the Harlem Crips. It started at junior high, of course. We were just young claimers and fighting different little guys. It was nothing major. Some guys that I also knew, because I knew some Bloods, I grew up with them too. They approached me and put a gun in my head and told me that the neighborhood I was claiming was not their most favorable one. And my cousin, being from that side, the Blood gang, told them they couldn't kill me. Well, to their disadvantage, they let me live. And in their letting me live, I came back and we went and retaliated, which led us to going to jail. I went and did 5 years the first time of incarceration. Stayed home about 6 years after that, but my mindset was still there. I still wasn't in control of the things that controlled me, and I went back to prison. This time going to prison for 7 years, which was the last term I just did. My son wrote me and said, Dad, I'm gonna be just like you. And he accepted, and I found out he was now part of the same gang that I was. The letter came a year later when my son was now trying to get to the prison I was at, because he had now been sentenced to 5 years in prison as well. This drastic change made me really take a look at myself and understand the direction and the leadership and the example I was being to him. One thing I find now that it didn't give me a retirement plan, it didn't give me a 401k, it didn't give me any benefits, you know. Only thing I got out of it was all negative. I found how abnormal I was really living, you know what I mean? That it wasn't normal to carry a pistol in my pocket like this is the Western days. It wasn't normal to shoot at people. It was normal for stores and businesses and restaurants to be open and to be able to go in there and eat peacefully late at night. Every excuse that a brother makes for why he can't change and make his own life better, I can answer it. Because he been to prison? Me too. Because he had struggle? Me too. You know what I mean? Because he sold dope or used dope? Me too. You know what I mean? For all those oppositions, I'm the one to say, man, you can still do it because it's up to you. You know, I look and ask the questions to the homies we deal with now of what's my legacy gonna be? You know what I mean? Now I want my legacy to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered as a homie that came out this hood, that did time and was down, never snitched, you know, was with the business, but just died. You know, a few 40s poured out up for me, a few parties, and they thinking about and reminiscing about when I was there. I don't want to be left like that. I want to be left with an impact in my community of what this Unity 3 represents. You know, it represents change of attitude, change of lifestyle, and life, and hope.
I was definitely born and raised in the Watts area, particularly the Jordan Down housing projects developments, which is one of the most notorious neighborhoods in the city of Los Angeles. The gang that, you know, that dominate that area is called Grape Streets. So at a young age, you know what I'm saying, I became affiliated. Your first year of junior high school, you know, you wasn't looking forward towards that, you know what I'm saying, it was more of a scary thing. But once, you know, you got used to it, then, you know, it became like a sport in a sense. And your body become numb to it. And, you know, you had to become numb to that situation, or else you had to move up out of that environment. The girl that was my high school girlfriend, who I was dating at the time, she ended up getting pregnant by me. And that right there was just my key to like really leave it alone, because now I was thinking I got somebody to care for. I got a son, I got a baby finna come. And I had to reflect on my past and the lifestyle and the stuff that I was caught up in. I was like, you know, if I don't change my lifestyle, there's two places I'm gonna go. One is I'm gonna end up dead, and I told myself I'm gonna end up in jail for the rest of my life. So my thing was to try to educate myself, get a diploma, and pluck one or two individuals from the neighborhood at a time that was ready to make that transition. We was reading the dictionary, we was reading the solar system, we was reading so much stuff. It's no longer about a Crip or blood. I'm dying because I'm a Crip in the blood. Majority of my people are perishing away because they don't have no knowledge. And because they don't have no knowledge, they're vanishing. And you know, CSDI, like I said, it was a spinoff from American. I mean, being natives of this community and understanding what our people is going through, you know, we had to be able to bring some back and give some back. And that was the whole plan behind CSDI. It's called the Community of Self-Determination Institute. Self-determination being in control of your own destiny.
Well, I was assigned to Dolores Mission Parish, which is the poorest parish in the city of Los Angeles. And during the time I was there were 8 gangs at war with each other in the 2 housing projects in my parish. So, you know, though I was sent there to be the pastor of a parish, you know, I buried my first kid in 1988 and my 134th last February. So I sort of a vocation within a vocation where I started to help the kids who found themselves regrettably in a gang and wanted to move beyond it. The first thing we did was we started an alternative school in 1988, and that brought gang members to the church property. And then they started to say, boy, if only we had jobs. So then we started a program called Jobs for a Future in 1988. Then in 1992, we started Homeboy Bakery, which was the birth of Homeboy Industries. So now we just call this whole organization Homeboy Industries, which is a kind of a gang rehab center or a center of hope for young people who've been involved in gangs and for whom hope is foreign. So they come here and we help them in concrete ways to jumpstart their life, from job to tattoo removal to counseling to a variety of case management issues that we deal with.
Anytime you want to shave, we'll get better results.
We have our cafe that we opened up in just in April of this year, and with that cafe we have 5 homegirls working there now, and it's sort of kind of catered to females. Start working with females. We've always been asked to, what are we doing for the girls?
I am a gang member Born and raised right here in Boyle Heights. I joined the gang when I was 11 years old. The only reason why I stopped gangbanging was because I got 6 counts of assault and battery for a peace officer, and had to go to trial and all that good stuff, and I almost lost my kids because of that. I went to trial, had to do community service. So finally I went in and I went to give Father Greg a piece of my mind. Told him, you only help the people from the projects, you don't care about us. And he goes, you know what, kiddo? He goes, you could do your community service. He goes, I'm gonna help you. So I came in, did my community service, and I was slanging at the time. Slanging, which is selling drugs, and still very active. He goes, do you want to earn real money? I was like, come on, G, I'm earning real money. And he's like, no, real money, hard-earned sweat money. And I was like, nah, it's gonna be a hard transition. And he's like, okay, let's make a deal. He goes, if you come and you do good, he goes, I'll promote you and you'll go up the ladder fast. And I was like, all right. So I came in, started working in the WOW with my enemy gang members. I didn't talk to nobody at first. I've been everything in Father Greg's office. Till finally, I started my own program in Father Greg's office called Platicas. And Platicas, it helps the girls that are of it, in it, and around it. It's for the girls that are of the gang, in the gang, around the gang. And that's my outreach right now.
Everybody's a success story here. You know, when people say, does the program work? It's 100% successful. For anybody who works this program, it's 100% successful. Everybody here has left behind, you know, the life of selling drugs or gangbanging, and have turned in the sort of this bastion of conditional love, which is gang involvement, for this community of unconditional love.
Drugs in many colors be flying in the city of LA where them homies be dying. A lot of misery, crime, suffering and pain. My exit strategy is to get out the game. Lifestyle is kinda lame, locked up in the cell. Eating spreads every day with war stories to tell. Can't collect my mail cause it's all on my books. I've been labeled as a menace to society crook. Overlook all my chances of becoming a star by making them dumb choices when I jumped in that car. Prevail and go far was my only intentions. Could have been a rocket scientist with big inventions. Throwing up my sets and representing my block. And if I caught you slipping, then you just got to make a fat knot. Pocket gotta earn to get it. Always keep it real and keep it level-headed.
I'm gambling my life like I'm rolling the dice. Gang banging in the streets ain't nothing nice. I'm gambling my life like I'm rolling the dice. Gang banging in the streets ain't nothing nice. I'm gambling my life like I'm rolling the dice. Gang banging in the streets ain't nothing nice. I'm gambling my life like I'm rolling the dice. Gang banging in the streets ain't nothing nice.
I'm looking for a way, trying to be okay, but the street life got me turning all kind of ways. Mama telling me that I need to do right, but mama don't understand the street life. I gotta hustle for my dollar. I gotta always look over my shoulder. I gotta always keep my hand on the clip, ready to flip, then ready to dip. Now I know this ain't right for me. You don't wanna see me dead in the streets, so I get on my knees and ask God, please show me the way that's right for me.
Pour a drink over ice cause I'm feeling depressed. Like a needle in a haystack, my life's a mess. It's a test from God to make me realize. Better straighten up quick, make a decision that's wise. Many lies of the seat, can't take the heat. Sick and tired of going to jail from the city police. Like rapping to them beats, I'ma put it together. I'ma keep my head up, player, cause it's gonna get better. Writing letters like this for my G's and hustlers. No longer in these streets will I be a buster. Gotta get on my grind 24/7 of my time. And all them haters